Hello, everybody, and today for my 2025 movie reviews, we are starting from the lowest to the top. So, for my first week, I'm doing the Henry Danger movie. So, I didn't expect to ever talk about Henry Danger on my channel, but I now am. So, I grew up with Henry Danger. I kind of stopped liking the Nickelodeon sitcoms once iCarly and Victorious ended. It's just like I just didn't feel Dan Schneider's shows were kind of just becoming stale. But Henry Danger has definitely come a long way since the show is kind of still going on to this very day. They're doing a spin-off, I'm pretty sure, and they did this movie. And basically, Henry Hart is now, I guess you can say, the Nightwing of the Nickelodeon superhero, whatever you want to call it. But they decided to do a Henry Danger movie. When I first saw that on IMDb a long time ago, I was just like, what? They're doing a Henry Danger movie? And this movie ended up, I don't think it's the best, but it's not the worst. But I honestly forgot I saw it because it came out January as shown on this poster. It's basically about Kid Danger going on a quest with a girl who's a big fan of him, and they're basically trapped in her like virtual reality world or whatever she created through her drawings that she did, and she imagined some of her Henry's family members and friends as like certain characters. And this movie's just meant to be like a wild, I guess you can say, sort of multiverse movie. But the main thing that was confusing for me was this hopping around universes thing. I don't know are they in like an imagination world or something. But the biggest letdown for this movie for me was we didn't get to see Charlotte in this movie. I actually do like that character. I like Riley Dawes. I thought she was a lot of fun in Henry Danger. It was such a missed opportunity that they didn't include her in this movie other than a little reference. But I guess this requires a spoiler if you've not seen Henry Danger. But I've actually not watched the finale, but I've seen a clip of it. It's where Henry basically sacrifices himself to save Swellview, the place they live, and everyone thinks Henry's Kid Danger is dead, but nah, he's not actually dead. He basically has radiation powers now, and he's able to use his powers to stop bad guys, and he's going by a new name, and everyone still thinks Kid Danger is dead, but his biggest fan still thinks he's alive when the two finally do meet, and they actually somewhat have a good connection. I actually felt their bond. But it also has some drama, of course, since this is trying to be like a drama version of Henry Danger. Since people feel this turns the movie off, trying to be a serious version of Henry Danger for some reason, even though the sitcom is just a comedy. I kind of see their point, but I guess I can respect that they're trying to give something to the older fans who grew up with the show. But they also have like Henry randomly swear in this movie. He just says, "I'm in hell." Like, what? That was in the trailer, and they were trying to pump it up like it's this big thing, like, oh, Kid Danger swearing, but no, he just says hell. But he's basically just hopping through dimensions, and he's having some beef with Jasper, his best friend, who has returned in this, and his little sister, Piper, who is surprisingly the same age as me in real life. But Jasper and Henry are kind of just butting heads because Henry just kind of wants to move on. He just wants to just live on his own and not have to be roommates with his old childhood friends. But as he goes through the dimensions, he starts to realize why Jasper is a good friend of his. But when he does appear in these dimensions, first he's in a world where Piper is a vampire, and her vampire costume actually looks nice, actually looks cool. We also get an appearance of Ariana Grande's brother, Frankie Grande, who is a villain in the show, who is somehow still a villain even in this movie, and he's able to also become a vampire. And Schwoz is in this movie. I do like Schwoz. His character is hilarious. But he is apparently a dishwasher in one of the dimensions, and Henry's trying to find a way to get him to build the machine to get them back into their main world. But when they finally work things out, they basically appear in another dimension where they're in a cartoon version, and we actually see Henry as a cartoon. It reminds me of the failed Henry Danger cartoon they tried to do back in, 2020, I'm pretty sure. That cartoon was so bad. It's a whole different subject. But that show was very bizarre. But the cartoon segment was definitely strange, even for Henry. But eventually he does get into a brawl with the two vampires and a giant dude who makes the character do push-ups for 100 push-ups, 900 push-ups, which is insane. But it all leads to a battle where they're trying to build this machine, and Henry's trying to use his powers, but when he finally does get his powers boosted up, he's able to defeat his enemies, and he is able to go back home, and his fan is basically able to go back home and still imagine some of her stories and her sketches, and she basically becomes the sidekick to Henry, and I even like how she figured out his identity easily, since it's very obvious, we can tell who Henry is. But he's able to work things out with Jasper, and even Jasper has a love subplot where he wants to date the detective that they hang out with. But that storyline was just whatever. But they even do a selfie, which was nice. But the movie ends with a cameo of Cooper Barnes as Captain Man. Cooper Barnes I have a lot of respect for as an actor, even though he is basically known for just playing Captain Man, but he does seem like a likable dude. Same goes with Jason Norman in this movie, since I actually do think Jason Norman is a fun actor in this. I don't think he's amazing. I don't know if he's really in many things other than Henry Danger, but I hope he does find other stuff than just that. But if they ever do a Henry Danger show, I guess he's more power to him. But the Henry Danger movie, I didn't think it was anything special. It was just kind of them trying to do a dark version of Henry Danger, and I just don't think it really fits the tone of the show. But honestly, if you really want to watch Henry Danger, maybe just watch the show. But I don't know, I'm not really a fan of Dan Schneider in what he created. But at least they tried to do something superhero-y. But I honestly prefer to just watch iCarly or Victorious when I'm watching a Nickelodeon sitcom. But I'd probably give this movie probably just a 6 out of 10. So yeah, nothing special. But the next movie review I'm doing is Snow White. Be on the lookout for that, since I have a lot to say about Snow White and its controversies. But anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you all next time.